Attention! Breaking news. Tremendous disrespect from Max Verstappen towards Checo Perez again. After everyone knows everything that's happening in referent, Checo Perez and Verstappen, all the favors or rather preferential treatment that he's receiving. Max Verstappen, we can even see here how Prost is defending Checo from ultra low for Max. Showing you this is not just rumors, it's personalities. Very strong opinions are supporting. This is not fair treatment. Just look at the comments, for example. Nothing else is missing except them saying Alan Prost is defending Checo because he is a fanatic Mexican. A legend like Alan is not going to be fooled better than anyone. A former driver of that caliber will never be deceived by the Dutch captain for you to see. How are we looking at the comments now? I'm going to stay reading them a bit. It's the last video by Maniacs which you have here. Thank you very much. Everyone supporting all the effort we're putting in. Leaving your comment to cheer us up. So, let's look over there through the screen at more important issues, right? The news that is going viral today. Neither go. Alonso tweeted neither Mara nor go. No team has the ambitions of Aston. At no point in these statements has Alonso said the word Niwi. We could say a bit of motorsport clickbait because he doesn't usually do clickbait. But we'll analyze it because there are very interesting words like those from De La Rosa. There's a lot to see in current events. Fernando Alonso knows stuff. What does Fernando Alonso know and how has he been disrespectful? None other than Max Verstappen, again, because it's not the first time, checoperez. Let's go over what he said. Because it's disrespectful to me. It's too big to keep tolerating if you are the head of Red Bull. Mr. Christian Horner, do something now with this attitude of your new golden boy, Max Verstappen. Welcome to SportManiacs, the YouTube Formula 1 section. And first, bam, surprise! That's right, SportManiacs. Check out the surprise I bring you with this news that came out on a website that is not very significant. That's why I give it to you as a surprise and nothing else. Moreover, I just want you to see Audi has entered discussions with some very talented 27-year-old pilots. This is being rumored. We're going to analyze it. Very quickly, it's the Gazette of the For Whoever releases it, an Italian medium that you already know has prestige. This is another page that doesn't have as much prestige. But directly, what they say is just that no. It's not just that Audi has two drivers in mind. Here comes the surprise. They are Esteban Ocon. And if you lose, well, those are the two options. I leave it here, dropping it like a smoke bomb because I find it astonishing. And now we move on to the sensitive issues. What did Verstappen say? What did Alonso say that matters a lot? No, but first, thanks to everyone who you are there supporting the SPORTMANIATICOS channel, which you already know is new. We are 101 subscribers already to the first video. 192 views. This is spectacular. You're real hooligans, it must be said. And SpawnManiacs had been asking for it for months. It's a lot more effort. It's making an impression. But for you guys, anything. I'll leave the link to this new Polmaniacos channel in the comments so that we can start giving voice in English. Vote on what? It is support for Hispanic drivers in Formula 1. Not just for Checo Perez, who we are going to support against Verstappen's disrespect, but also Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz. And to show, that's why we're going to comment with Fernando Alonso. Why? What has he said? Simply, no team has the ambitions of Aston. He hasn't said anything about Nui, and I'll prove it here. He says there's no other team in the padel with the ambition and future plans that Aston has, Fernando tells us. But at the same time, we must reach those objectives and achieve those results. This team was very good 2 years ago, roughly doubling the number of people working in the factory. They were in an old building of the Jordan team, the yellow one, you know. Now they are in a super modern factory. Last year, we had a very fast car. And we had to learn many lessons off the track about how to develop the car to match the leading teams. And that's true. Pastor Martin's performance plummeted, they say. This year, we are matching that kind of development, and that's important for fighting for the world. So, I believe these are all very good signs. Fernando Alonso trusts the signs that this Aston Martin is giving him. But ultimately, you have to win races and championships. Fernando Alonso is already talking about winning championships. We've mentioned that by 2026, it will be, if not the favorite for the World Championship, Aramco Honda of the two leading teams. And this is the difficult step. I'm really happy. I think I was very happy last year and I still am now. And I feel good with the team. I'd love to be in a stronger position, says Fernando. But last year, we were fighting for more important things at the beginning of the year. And by the end, we were more or less in the same position. The fifth type of human.
It seems like we have a roadmap for
in the current development, which is a bit more aggressive and more in line with a leading team wanting to compete for big things. And I'm happy to see it. Optimism in space, but I insist a lot has happened to me with people saying, hey Alberto, have you seen this about Nico? And no, not about Nico and nothing. He didn't say anything at all, just included it in the title. Engines. But before we see the outrageous thing Verstappen says, he lies on top of that and I'm going to prove it to you with statements from just a week ago. Who is it that speaks of the Rose? That is also going viral in the last hours, from La Rosa. Works at Aston Martin, it's like in public relations to put it somehow. Also is in Dazen in Spain, commenting on the races. And the last friend of Fernando Alonso says, the renewal of Alonso gives credit to the Aston Martin project. He knows stuff. I've shown you what Alonso said, and now I'll show you what De La Rosa says so you can see what we've been advancing in Esports Maniacs in recent weeks. That the Aramco project is very strong. It's on the right path. I'm really happy about Alonso's renewal. It's great for Formula 1, says Pedro de la Rosa. And we agree with those words. Let's not forget that Fernando was thinking about retiring. And we actually said it in SPORTMANIACOS. Do you remember those videos where I, Alberto, was sad? How can I not be sad when Carlos or directly Checo Perez leave Formula 1, right? I think they've marked an era with us at the corner bar in SPORTMANIATICS. We will never forget it, will we? No matter if Pato or someone else comes.
Pilot.
You get it? It's always something special. Let's not forget that Fernando was thinking about retiring. The first thing we have to say is that it's great for Formula 1. For the fans, Fernando wants to stay. He wants to continue in Formula 1 and not just for a year. This is the most important thing. The Aramco on the 2026 project. I think the other title. Fernando could have looked for other options, but he decided to stay with us. This is what is rumored, that there has been an offer from Red Bull. I didn't want to give it all that hype. I didn't buy into it. Because I insist, look at the Ford Maniacs videos where we talk about Ford. Look, 41,000 views in 21 hours. You are some macabre hooligans. Breaking news, Sergio Pérez, Ford considers him non-negotiable. Check out this video because everything they're saying obviously makes no sense if you think about it. From the point of view that one must have. Thinking, I believe this also gives credit to our entire program. Alonso's renewal gives credit to the Aston Martin project. He knows things. It gives great credit to the whole project, says Pedro de la Rosa. Our new wind tunnel, the new campus, the new simulator, everything. People might not know it, but it's just happening. Fernando knows. He knows things about this project, says Pedro de la Paz. Pink. The fact that the team and Fernando wanted to communicate this so quickly is mainly because we have an interesting project on the table. Red Bull didn't matter to him, nothing did. Because 2025 is not the end for Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso was clear he would continue in Formula 1 in 2026. Pedro says, continuing with the statements, Pedro de la Rosa says, so it's great commitment on the part of the Aston Martin team. They are committing to a driver who is 43 years old and this is a hint at what he says. Goodbye, Verstappen. And we're about to see it now, along with the statement. That makes sense for Checo as well since they're related. They say this is the longest contract he has signed in his career. I think he'll keep racing at 45. That's spectacular. I mean, these are Fangio's levels of commitment and experience. Alonso said this is the longest contract he has signed. So, Fernando, itang patang biyer pa basta. He will retire at Aston Martin. If you look at the data on how he drives, it's impressive. The Suzuka one, I don't know if it was one of his top 5 or 6 races, he insists. But it's surprising as no one noticed. That's why Fernando deserves something. Alonso proves there are some drivers who can drive fast to the limit, Pedro says. But still, but even so, they have this 360-degree perspective of what's happening. This shows that Alonso is one of the few drivers capable of being aware of everything at all times, and he knows it. When you finish a race, I've seen drivers, including myself, who are fully aware of their own race but don't have an overall picture like Fernando. And then other drivers who don't need any information about what happened since they were informed by the race engineer or saw the huge TV screens that made it clear with Checo Perez how important it is. Fernando, he's one of those. 25, I believe. Things won't change much, Pedro de la Rosa tells us. Besides, obviously, Hamilton will go to Ferrari, as we all know. That's my opinion. By 2026, things could indeed change. Above all, because there's a big regulatory change in the car. So De La Rosa expects more changes by 2025 than by 2026. And when do you expect changes? I hope the check renewal happens soon to stop these kinds of things. We could say it's disrespectful from his most versatile teammate, Checo Perez. The time has come to analyze this part of the video, the most important, but we were not going to give it. The greatest privilege of being the main topic of the day is Verstappen. He doesn't deserve it. And because he doesn't, we won't give him that privilege. But we do need to address this disrespect because it's a weapon. From the stamper to the check. And we could say he's still underrated, right? That's the key to everything. These statements were made in an interview. Verstappen for a play revealed that he didn't mind whether Perez or someone else was going to be his future teammate, already hinting that Red Bull is his. When 4, at no point have they said anything about Verstappen, I insist. Watch the 4th video that you like. Because this guy thinks he's a sheriff like Christian Horner and he's nobody. By 2026, you won't even be the one cleaning the boss's shoes, and that boss will be Sergio Pérez. Championship and Perez will finish behind him, said according to current reports. This was stated by reliable sources that it has been sent to play. I say it because I've looked for it in more places and haven't found it, but here it is, here it is. It fits perfectly with what Verstappen has said. In fact, this at the very last minute will probably be tomorrow when it begins to go viral through all the media. So, who will be my partner? Isn't it a problem that it distracts me? Says Max Verstappen after acknowledging that at the end of the championship, Perth will end up behind me. And I asked, how does Verstappen know? It must be because he obviously has privileges himself. He is discovering, to tell the truth. Sorry, to tell the truth, I don't think about this factor at all, Verset tells us. Verstappen is very relaxed, calm, even as the races pass and Checo Perez remains close in the championship. Intimidation, call it what you want. Verstappen goes back on the attack with Checo Perez. And he says, this is to debunk it so you can see how he lies. He doesn't care who's beside him. And this isn't about 2 weeks ago, a week or a few days. Verstappen questions Alonso's potential arrival at Red Bull. It would be odd to hire a 42-year-old driver. But not just because of that. Because in these statements, he also insisted that signing Sergio Pérez is not ideal. I say, Red Bull has always had the tradition of grooming its own young drivers. Signing Sergio Pérez was already a break from that trend with a driver who is even 42 years old. It doesn't want Sergio Pérez, nor does it want Fernando Alonso. Neither of the two, if these statements prove it. Moreover, I must say that the Midway Motorsport thing, at the end of the post, if you read it, which I had forgotten, that's why I mentioned it, despite Aston Martin's interest in Newey and Ferrari's proposals, the famous designer, it seems almost certain that he will continue with his current contract throughout. Long-term with Red Bull. That is, it is being said that the safest thing for Adrian Newey, stick with Red Bull. I hadn't heard this before, but Motorsport says it, I insist. Motorsport, just as it hits you with a clickbait here that I had never seen, it usually doesn't do it. He's usually the one who documents the news the best, and we always say so. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't say a source or anything, but I would keep him on my radar. In fact, he's on my radar. The options are Ferrari and Aston Martin with a blank check and now staying. But I'm afraid, friends, that part of the Jorge case has yet to explode. Family of Sport Fanatics. I remain here reading the comments you have left, both in Sport Fanatics USA, here with the videos for those listening to us in English to be heard everywhere. The defense we provide for Hispanic drivers. And the comments with the video of Pro saying that here there is no equality, there is no Verstappen here, that's for sure. So you don't care who your teammate is. Tell the truth, you are left halfway. Thank you very much. Captain Ready, subscribed by Fanatics, and U63. I like people. It likes the Export Magnetic family asked you for the news in English, and even though it's much more expensive, more investment, more effectiveness, more dedication, whatever it takes for you, and to defend Sergio Pérez, Fernando Alonso, to Carlos Sainz, and all the Spanish-speaking drivers in motorsport. Friends, I'll keep reading your comments.